Hello and welcome to Sustainability Matters 2021. It's great to have you with us. I'm Emma Hopkins, Sustainable Business Officer at Darebin Council, and I'll be leading you through today's event. First off, I'd like to introduce traditional owner and elder, Uncle Tony Garby, who will welcome us to the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung country. Thank you, Uncle Tony.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. First, I'd just like to start off with saying Wurundjeri to everyone. So Wurundjeri in our Wurundjeri language means welcome. So welcome to all Indigenous and non-Indigenous people here today. I'd also just like to thank you for inviting us here to the forum. I'm very proud and honoured to be speaking on behalf of my people, which is the Wurundjeri people. The Wurundjeri people are also a part of the Kulin Nation. Kulin means man. In the Kulin Nation, there were 5 language groups. There was the Wadawurrung to the west, the Coorong, who were the westerly neighbours to the Wadawurrung, Tanarong to the northeast, Bunurong to the southwest, and the Wurrung of the Wurundjeri territory that we stand on here today. The Wurundjeri lies within the cities of Melbourne. It extends from the mountains of the Great Dividing Range, south to the Yarra River, west to the Werribee River, and east to Mount Baw. The Wurundjeri people, they have a social totem. It is Bunjil the eagle. Bunjil represents spiritual powers throughout many parts of Australia. Bunjil taught all the laws about life, behaviour and ceremonies to make sure that our culture would continue for all walks of life throughout Australia. Bunjil is referred to as the creator of mankind. Bunjil created great people from the land, and that is why we call the land our mother, or the mother of creation. Never can the land be taken away. The land will always belong to Aboriginal people, as we are part of the land and the land is part of us. Our story is similar to yours. Yours is by your chosen faith, ours is by the dream time. We both have creators and beliefs, and ours is Bunjil. It is a traditional custom of the Australian Aboriginal communities to be asked and to give permission for people to enter their land. And today you have now joined with me to honour the spirits of my ancestors, past and present, who have nurtured this land for over 60,000 years. And we as the custodians of the land offer you a heartily welcome to the land and hope that together as citizens of this beautiful country, we can build, develop and unite stronger nations for all people. And just finally, I'd like to close in my Wurrung language, which is Wurundjeri Wandun Wurundjeri Balak Yemen Kumbibik, which means you're the most welcome to the land of the Wurundjeri people. Thank you very much for having me here today.
Thank you very much, Uncle Tony, for such a warm and generous welcoming to the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung lands. I'd now like to welcome our Darebin Mayor, Mayor Messina, who will formally welcome you to this event.
Womenchika, good afternoon and welcome to you all. And I didn't pronounce that correctly. I think it's Womenchika. So thank you very much for that introduction and welcome, Uncle Tony. I also acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people who are the traditional owners of the land. I recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to acknowledge my fellow councillors, Councillor Susan Rennie and Councillor Suzanne Newton, who I believe are joining us this afternoon, to the innovative, inspiring speakers who you will hear from today who occupy that progressive arena of sustainability. I welcome you also, and everybody else who's joining us this afternoon. Once again, welcome to Sustainability Matters. It's an annual event that it brings inspiring stories and experience of local and sustainable business leaders in our community. The theme for today's webinar is the business opportunities we create when we solve problems with sustainable solutions. We recognise that for many businesses and organisations, COVID has had a devastating impact on their business, on their cash flow. That's why we at Darebin Council prioritise a recovery program that supports our local businesses and our most vulnerable. Today you will hear from our Today you will hear about sustainability and the practices that our businesses implement through cost reductions, waste, emissions, and particularly part of the circular economy. Darebin Council in this council term is focusing on stimulating economic activity. We will also be planting thousands of trees and plants during our 4-year term. We will also be continuing action on climate emergency, and we'd love for the community to come along that journey with us. So we'd love to hear your inspirational stories. We also want to encourage investment in our local economy, get our residents shopping locally, and strengthening the local businesses to business relationships by formulating many forums and also the Darebin Chamber of Commerce. We recognise at this time many businesses may not feel that they have funds to invest in sustainability, energy or waste efficient measures, but instead of creating barriers, sustainable outcomes create opportunities. These opportunities can include the reduction of costs, tapping into new markets, building stronger customer and community relationships, supporting the local economy, and creating new products and services. Darebin City Council has a range of programs to help and support businesses to access these opportunities. These programs include our Light Savers program, which in most cases is helping businesses upgrade their lights to LED for free and reducing energy bills on average by $420 per year per business. Our business solar bulk buying program, in conjunction with the state government's business solar program being launched next month, can make installing solar easy and affordable, dramatically reducing energy bills. And our business recycling program can help reduce waste to landfill, which obviously has its own economic benefits and reducing your expenditure. The Wangham Cup project, which will be presented by our joint Citizen of the Year here in Prentice, will tell you more about today, is about supporting council, how it helps cafes reduce single-use cups and build businesses through collaboration and stronger customer relationships. I just want to add to you that and include, and I'm waiting for a positive outcome on this. I've written to the Minister, Lily D'Ambrosio, to advocate for Darebin to be used as a trial for the banning of single-use plastic items throughout our business community. I look forward to not only Council's action back in 2017, but this community's action in ensuring that we successfully have the trial and for feedback for that trial to be filtered through to the Minister. So fingers crossed that we are selected as the trial municipality, and I hope to inform you of that success later on. Our efficiency and sustainability health checks can help you identify what you could be doing to reduce costs, build your business resilience, and help shift your businesses from one that has a negative impact on the environment to one that has a positive impact. We know that by improving the environmental sustainability of your business and organisations, you'll be more efficient and more resilient. You'll attract and maintain customers that are looking for businesses whose actions and values align with theirs. You will open up new business opportunities and collaborative relationships with your business peers, customers and supply chains. And you will set your business up for a much more financial enriched future. As one of our business leaders said, Charlie Sanford from Charlie Sanford and McKay Joinery says, for every dollar you save on waste or energy, that's $10 you don't have to earn. I hope you find inspiration in these stories of real businesses and organisations that you hear today, and that you have access to our programs and the state government programs to help these inspirations become a reality for you and your business. For our community members who have joined us today, please support your local businesses and leaders in sustainability. You'll find their businesses on our Sustainable Darebin map and soon to be released Love Your Local Business map. Let's all love local. Let's all work together to rebuild our local businesses as thriving, connected and sustainable business. Thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the forum.
Thank you very much, Mayor Messina. I too would also like to acknowledge that I am on the land of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people. And for those of you that might be joining us from other lands, please feel free to acknowledge that these lands that you're coming from through the chat. As Mayor Messina said, the Sustainability Matters is about bringing the stories of our local leaders in sustainability, our business leaders, to you. And the theme for this year's event is the business opportunities we create when we solve problems with sustainable solutions. We've got an amazing array of speakers today, very inspiring, and they're definitely demonstrating this. First up, we've got Abigail Forsythe, co-founder and managing director from Keep Cup. Then we'll be hearing via video from 4 of our local businesses: Outer Circle Social Club, Rhubarb Organics, Moon Rabbit, and the Northcote Bake Shop. Kirini Peris will then talk to us about the amazing Wangam Cup project. We'll hear then from Alex Kung from Reducing Our Footprint, and then we'll hear from Fairfield Primary School. We'll hear via video from 6 of their student community leaders and teacher, Jordan Murray, followed by Catherine Barraclough, a parent who'll be speaking. Lastly, I'll share with you some of the great programs on offer at Darebin Council and the state government to really help you progress your journey and to find sustainable solutions for the problems you're facing. Before I introduce Abigail, we'll do a quick poll though, just to give us a sense of who you are and where you're from. So if you can just tell us a bit about yourself, if you live in Darebin, if you work in Darebin, if you own a business or run an organisation, if you work for a business or organisation, and if COVID-19 significantly changed your employment status, business or job, or none of the above. I'll just give you a moment to do that. And we can see in the poll results that quite a few of you work in Darebin, quite a few of you also live in Darebin. Some of you definitely have had your job status or employment changed by COVID. And there's a mix of those that work and own businesses. Great, thank you very much for doing those polls. It's good feedback for us. Okay, I'd now like to introduce Abigail Forsythe. So Abigail is co-founder and managing director of Keep Cup. Abigail has a very inspiring story and very much puts into practice the idea of finding a sustainable solution to a problem. Welcome, Abigail.
Hello, everyone. Nice, thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. So I'm going to talk to you today about my journey and some of the themes that I think recur that make us a sustainable business and give you a bit of context. So every minute around the world, over 1 million disposable cups are used and discarded. So that's over 500 billion cups every year. And disposable cups are actually really thin plastic cups that are given a paper coating in order to make them easy to brand and, I guess, more appealing to customers. But this means because they're made of a composite material, they can't be recycled. So in 2007, when we set out to solve this problem, a world that no longer needs, wants or uses single-use cups, I thought we'd be done by now because what I realised was you don't really need a Keep Cup, much less a disposable cup, because you can just drink your sit down for 10 minutes and drink your coffee in-house. So shows you that you can start out with some pretty naive ideas that take you a long way. So whilst in some ways disposable cups are pretty trivial in terms of the global waste crisis we face because they're unnecessary and because they're so visible and relatable to people, like we see them all the time, we use them. It's a really interesting lens through which to view the kinds of systems and cultural changes that are needed across entire industries and the sort of opportunities that are out there to solve environmental problems and the challenges we face. So, for example, whilst I knew that disposable cups weren't recyclable, I didn't really realise that the whole recycling system was in crisis when we started. So 9% of all plastic ever made has been recycled, only 9%. So for the last 50 years, we've been making stuff out of plastic, only 9% of that's ever been recycled. And there's a growing awareness of that. And with that growing awareness, then we have the big players step in and they've got recycling programs and pledges for recycled content. But bear in mind, BP has just declared their strategy for 2030, and one of the pillars of their strategy is convenience, which equals single-use plastic. So oil industry groups have lobbied pretty hard to equate hygiene with single use in the wake of the pandemic. But even if plastic is fully recycled, it can only be recycled 4 or 5 times before it's degraded beyond the ability to be recycled. I live in the city of Yarra, and we've just got glass curbside recycling, which is awesome. And I went down to the supermarket a couple of days ago, and of the 10 honey brands that were on shelf, 9 of them were in plastic jars. So there's been this rapid shift to move from glass packaging to plastic packaging. So it's just, being mindful of how, and this idea that we can recycle our way out of it. This is an article that was in the Financial Times a couple of days ago. It surveyed over 20,000 people from 30 countries, and most people in the world believe that recycling is the best solution to reduce carbon footprint against things like buying renewable energy, swapping to an electric car, flying less. So we think that's the most effective when in fact it's the least effective thing we can do. And that's a lot to do with the way we're communicated to by big business. So these are the themes that I'm going to talk to you about today: challenging cultural norms, selling the vision, sustainability versus sexy, one of our favourites, and who gives permission. And I'll talk to you about how I learnt these things, and then how are you thinking about them today. So this is me and my brother Jamie back in 1999. And I was a lawyer, and my brother was working in the UK, and every week he would call me up with a new business idea. And he'd say, what about veterinary supermarkets? What about this? And finally he said, I've seen these stores, Pret a Manger, and they make sandwiches and coffee that's ready to go, and you just take it away. It's convenient. And I thought, well, I like people, and I'm a good cook. How hard can it be? This sounds like fun. And so off I went on this journey to make Blue Bag, and that was the name of the business. And over time, we saw that people were using more. That was when disposable cups first came onto the scene. And I remember we was in the legal district of Melbourne, and a lawyer came in and he said to me, I feel like a baby drinking out of this disposable cup with a zipper lid. But then by and by, people kept using them, and now we drink out of them and we don't even think twice. But I sort of became increasingly concerned about the amount of rubbish we were going through. And so I looked around for an alternative with no intention whatsoever of starting a business. And I went down to Myer, and this is what was on the shelf. So these big clunky mugs, they were really utilitarian. They didn't fit under the group heads of the machine. And I thought, gee, there's an opportunity here to make something that we could sell in a store. But of course, that's not what I did, manufacture things. So, and then we also thought, well, if this is such an obvious solution, why hasn't someone done this? There must be some reason that we're missing, that people haven't solved this problem already. Will people return and reuse the cup? So in the winter of 2007, we got in this Decor soup mug, and we gave people 50 cents off if they refilled with their mug. And at the time, the disposable packaging we were using actually cost us 70 cents. So we were saving 20 cents every time we refilled one of these. And 15% of the customers returned and reused. So we were far out. There's a market here if we get this right. And my pa always said, lots of people have good ideas, but very few people act on them. And I guess he's right. So we did act on it, and we went and engaged industrial designers to help us with the design, and we got other designers to come up with a name. And we're really fortunate that we had sort of the cash flow of the cafe business, which was, as anyone who's watching knows, cafe, it's tough work and the margins are pretty tight. But anyway, we went along, and we ended up, but I was still is this going to work? Why hasn't someone done this before? It was always in the back of our minds, and are we missing some piece? And at the time, I read this book by Jared Diamond called Collapse, and it was why societies fail, like why civilizations have collapsed. And one that really struck me was Easter Island, Rarotonga, and it's covered in these giant stone statues, which you will have seen around the traps. And but what we probably don't realise is that the island used to be covered in about 16 million trees. And those trees were felled in order to drag these heavy sculptures, to quarry the stone, to carve the stone, to drag these sculptures around the island and put them up. And he said, Jared Diamond said that one of his students put their hand up and said, well, who cut down the last tree? And he thought about it for a while and he was like, well, it actually wouldn't have been a tree that the person cut down. So incrementally over a few generations, they would have cut and cut and cut. And so trees that were probably meters wide in girth would have given way to saplings. And so finally, when the person cut down the last tree, it wasn't a tree at all, it was a shrub. And so it made me really think about the incremental effects of change and also how we cling to these, you know, if the islanders had to choose between, do you want your island to be habitable or do you want these giant stone sculptures, they would have picked habitable, I presume. And it's the same as us. Like, do you want convenience and do you want single-use items or do you want a habitable planet? That's the sort of discussion we're faced with, but we cling to these ideas of what's normal and that the status quo changes. It sort of changes slowly and then it changes really fast. So there was that, and then there was also my daughter. So at the time, my daughter, who's now 16, was like 2 or 3, and I would give her hot milk in a sippy cup in the morning before work, and then I'd go into work and I'd have a coffee in a disposable cup. And I thought, would I give her coffee, if I wasn't, would I give her milk in a disposable cup? And that just seemed really wrong. Like, it seemed like such a dispiriting thing to do, to give a child a disposable cup to drink from when you could just, you know, give her a nice, you know, cup that could be washed. And it was that sort of idea of what sort of world are we creating that made me think that this isn't just about selling a product. This is about behavioural change. This is about shifting cultural norms. And I found that idea super exciting and engaging to be able to start telling that story through the product. So we ended up with a prototype which was hand painted, and you couldn't take the lid off. And we went around to find some manufacturers and local manufacturers, and I took it into one guy. He said, are you crazy? He goes, this is a plastic cup. Like, what are you thinking? I've got $1 million worth of tools sitting over there that are heaps better than what you've come up with for business ideas. If you can't sell this off the prototype, forget about it. Don't even bother. And at the time I was really cross because I thought, why can't he see the genius of this? But I took his advice, and through our business Blue Bag, we did some corporate catering as well. So I called up all the caterers and got onto the sustainability. Well, the catering people said, oh, it's not us. And then I got to the sustainability person, and they usually didn't have any budget. So then I got onto the marketing person and really started to, so there was a story I was telling, the problem that I wanted to solve, and then it was a real fast education in, well, how can you solve the customer's problems? What are the things they're concerned about? How are they having trouble communicating their message? So it was a great honing of the message. And finally, I got a meeting down at with National Australia Bank down at the Docklands, and they were doing a new 6-star green building. And I pitched to their sustainability team and said, you know, if you've got solar power on the roof and you're using grey water and you're doing all these amazing things, but you're still handing out disposable cups, there's a real disconnect in your message. And they said, okay, great, we're going to buy 5,500. And I nearly fell off my chair. I couldn't believe it. And I went downstairs. You know, I presented the thing out of a shoebox, for goodness sake. And I went downstairs. I said to Dad, you know, they're going to buy 5,500. And he was like, just wait till you get the purchase order. He couldn't believe that, you know, this was happening. And I guess looking back on that moment, I thought that they saw the product, and of course they did. But I think the other thing to remember is that they also were buying me. They were buying my belief in my solution. They were buying my commitment to get the job done. They were buying my vision of the change that I saw was necessary. And there's a wonderful quote from a philosopher called Thomas Carlyle, who said that the merit of originality is not novelty, it's sincerity. So it's not the newness of what you do, because yes, this is just a cup. It's the way you do it and the intent with which you do it that is, you know, we all know when we connect with someone who's genuine and you get that really nice feeling, and there's something in that that's just so important to communicate your vision and to have people believe in what you're trying to achieve. So that was the second big lesson. And then the third one was sustainability versus sexy. So as we're starting up, my brother Jamie and I would argue all the time, is this going to be about sustainability, like local manufacture, thinking about materials? Could it stack? Was it component based, so you could use minimum components to make the maximum number of products? Yeah, it was going to be all those things, but Jamie's like, but it's got to be sexy, it's got to look beautiful, it's got to have colour, it's got to have all these things. And this is the first market we did. Well, the first time we sold the product in Federation Square in Melbourne in June 2009. And it was an amazing day. We sold 1,000 of these cups in 6 hours. Like, I didn't take my head off that bench. We were making them as fast as we could sell them. And people were like, I don't even know what this is, but I want one. Or, you know, this is my idea. I've been thinking about this. And my favourite was one guy stood over there in the corner and took 40 minutes to decide between the soft charcoal and the warm grey. And it was a real lesson that, you know, you can have all the, you know, you can be on that sustainability journey and that can be absolutely core to your mission. But if you can't draw people in and you don't engage them in a way that excites their creativity and their passion, then, you know, you're not going to get an opportunity to do all these other wonderful things that underpin the business. I always say we're like Superman, like we're sort of, you know, we're Superman of sexy, and then you just rip our thing down, it's all green underneath. Like we are what we say we are. So that was lesson number 3, sustainability and sexy. And then number 4 is around who gives permission. Who are the gatekeepers and who are the people who are either going to enable or block what you want to do? And again, we got a really big clue about this very early on. So we did that first market in Federation Square, and then we went to Sydney with my husband, and we did the Powerhouse Design Market in Sydney. And a girl came up to me and she said, look, I'd really like to drink one of these cups because I think it's the right thing to do to get a keep cup. But, you know, I drink Campos coffee and they're way too cool for this kind of thing. And I was like, what? You know, I'll tell you what's cool. Sustainability is cool, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she walked away, and the next week, Will Young from Campos Coffee in Sydney called up and he said, look, I've been looking for a product like this for years. Is it made in Australia? And we said, yes, it's made in Australia. And he said, okay, I'd like to buy 10,000 of them. So not only was that I didn't realise the potential of that, but overnight he changed what was cool in coffee in Sydney and really, you know, we attached our brand to great coffee. We attached our brand to the aspirational behaviour around coffee and knowing a good coffee, and made it easy that when you walked in and, you know the feeling if you walk in, you hand over your keep cup and someone says, hey, nice keep cup. It's a really nice feeling as opposed to, oh, what's that? How do I fill it? What do I do? So that, you know, making that really easy for our customers has been a really important part of our business growth and our success. So, you know, on the back of that, we, you know, I guess from there on, it was solving problems one by one. We followed interest where it took us. We opened offices in the UK and the USA, and, you know, we honed our craft. We continue to back up our statements. We continue to improve on performance. We develop new products. We refine what we do. This is life cycle analysis we had done a couple of years ago that, you know, looks at the manufacturing. You know, that's the 60 uses is the minimum amount of time you need to break even with manufacturing of our product. We're looking at carbon footprinting, and we partner with like-minded organisations. And then 2020 happened, and our customers the cafes, as well as ourselves, are totally in crisis. Like it's been, as mentioned, it's been really, really tough, particularly for the hospitality industry. And we've had to, you know, really pivot and look at what changes we can make. And I think not only that, you know, on the back of a global pandemic, we've got the climate crisis. And whilst globally we reached 7% emissions reduction this year as a consequence of basically shutting down the whole world, we have to do that every year for the next decade to limit 1.5 degree warming. So, you know, we've seen that the solutions we make have to be global, but we've had to return to these first principles with which we built the business to survive. And I guess the thing that's really different between 2009 and 2021 is that there's a whole movement of people that now stand with us and behind us to push this movement forward. And we did a survey mid last year just to check on the reuse rates and what was happening, and we found that 40% of our customers now will refuse to get anything that is in single-use packaging. So that's amazing. I think another thing is that when we first started in 2010, we were calling cups single-use cups, and our customers said to us, you have to stop saying that. No one knows what you're talking about. You have to say disposable cups. And yet by 2018, single-use was Guardian's word of the year. So things, you know, they take ages and ages to change, and then boom, suddenly, you know, the world's changed, and yeah, things are different. So in terms of cultural norms, I think the thing that was a big surprise to us is when we did this survey last year, we said, what are the problems? And one of the things was that people hand over a dirty cup for the cafes to wash and refill. So, yeah, I think that's a really interesting. I know that Wangham is solving that, and you've got some solutions for that with the council, which are terrific. But those things are, who's responsible, and again, it's talking about how the disposable cup's such a unique way to think about the waste crisis, in that who will wash it. And when we think about people often ask us, you know, recycling is preserving the status quo, and it maintains the cycle of consumption by using, you know, trickle-down economics. So the people who make the stuff, they make all the money and control the production, and then we as consumers just consume it and throw it in the bin or dispose of it thoughtfully to recycle. But it preserves that status quo. And people always ask us, like every time I do a talk, someone always says to me, oh, is Keep Cup made of recycled materials? And if we just unpack this a bit, when you and I think of recycled materials, we think about stuff being removed from a bin or taken out of landfill to make something else. But what, in actual fact, when a lot of the big players are talking about recycled material, particularly in relation to food, so for example, Coca-Cola, they're doing virgin plastic, recycled plastic, virgin plastic, but they're often taking it off the factory floor. So misshapen bottles come off the factory line, and then they just pelletize them and put them back through, and that's considered recycled content. So there's a lot of misinformation around what recycled plastic is. And when you consider with Keep Cup, in the last 12 years, we would have produced the same number of cups that the likes of Starbucks or Coca-Cola would probably produce in half a day. You realise that, you know, the problem isn't, you know, plastic is a really useful shortcut to understand the problem, because half of the plastic produced is for single-use items. But the problem's really about volume, not material. And so whilst we've come a long way, and Keep Cup's now the name of a category of products as well as our brand, yeah, it feels like it's come full circle, but it hasn't. We've made some progress in challenging those norms, and yeah, we'll continue to do so. And whilst Keep Cup's been started because we believe in the power of individual behaviour change, that individuals are the people who can make a difference, do not underestimate the power of legislation and the power of political action. So this is our sales in the UK. And in 2018, a parliamentary review suggested that because disposable cups weren't recyclable, if they couldn't be fully recycled and not just recyclable, but actually in a recycling stream in 4 years, that they should be banned. And that announcement, which wasn't even legislation, just that the threat of legislation or the idea that there might be a policy change, look what happened to our sales. So you can see that was a real eye-opener for us, that the directional changes set by government and policy and legislation can have a huge impact on the way we think and do business. So back to those values. The cultural norms, selling the vision, selling the idea, and who gives permission. When I just want you to think back to those 16 million trees on Easter Island on Rarotonga. So that would take the population of Australia just 1 year to remove every single tree on that island just to account for our disposable cup consumption. This is a picture of some women in Africa, in Kenya, in the Greenbelt movement, which was started by a woman called Wangari Maathai in the 1970s. And she and the women who worked alongside her planted 50 million trees in Africa, which is just an astounding achievement. But she always said that her real work and her real purpose was empowering the women that she worked alongside. And the tree planting was a method of delivery of something richer. And I love this. This is a statement by Marshall McLuhan, a communication theorist. He said, the medium is the message. So I urge you to think about the method of delivery. The disposable cup is shaping our behaviour. What the medium and the message means is that the disposable cup is shaping our behaviour more than the coffee inside it. It's the cup that's shaping our culture. So I challenge you to think, what's your medium? What is it you're actually creating when you're doing whatever it is you do, and how can we continue to drive and harness that change? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abigail. It really is an amazing story. And I know you haven't had time today to touch on many of the things that you have been doing, not only as your business solution with Keep Cup, but within your business itself to make it more sustainable. I'm just going to encourage people, if you go to the Q&A tool, you can put your questions in there to Abigail. I see there's one question in there. Use the thumbs up to upvote those questions you most want answered. And as you put your questions in, I'll put a few in to Abigail. So this is a little bit related, Abigail, to Moondog's question. I know that Keep Cup is aiming to go carbon neutral by 2025. Can you tell us a bit about what that journey has entailed? What have you had to do to get to where you are, and what still do you have to do to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, I guess that like the journey to sort of, I think we'll be probably carbon neutral by the end of this year. So for us, it's getting that assessment done and understanding where the hot spots are in your business. This is a bit of a diversion, but we've got solar on the roof of our premises, and we push power back into the grid with the solar power. And when we had our carbon assessment done, the biggest impact we have is with our customers washing their cup. So every time they wash the cup, it's 7 grams of carbon, because, and you're thinking that's the water. It's not the water. It's the fossil fuels in the power used to heat the water. So our solar power, we push 7,000 washers back into the grid every day with through our renewable energy. So I haven't really answered your question, but the journey doesn't stop. Like, the journey is like 90% of the impact we have as a business is locked in when we make the product. Like the product design, the way it stacks, the way it ships, the materials we use. And then it's about, well, when we sell it, how often do people use it? So we always say the best reusable is the one you use. It's about choosing things well and using them all the time, rather than and then there's incremental things we can do that keep improving. So we recently just on pallets, I don't know, you have plastic wrap. So we've just put pallet strapping on the products, which is going to save us a lot in plastic. Or it's when we got our stainless steel cups, the factory in China, which probably makes, I don't know, 80% of all steel cups in the world, when they delivered the cups to us, they were all in an individual plastic bag. And we had to work for months and months and months to negotiate with them to put them in cardboard stripping and not put them in the plastic bags. And that didn't do anything for us other than reduce our footprint, but hopefully it paved a way for them to rethink about how they were delivering their product to all their other customers and save on that plastic bag. So it's about just identifying small things you can do and chipping them off to make change.
And I think that raises a really significant point. All businesses have a lot of impact on their customers and the products they make, but they have a lot of impact on their supply chain too. Mm-hmm. And when you push back to your supply chain, and we've heard this, and I've seen this, other businesses like Elk have worked with Australia Post to have packaging that's fully recyclable and change the way that postage is done. And you've got this great opportunity not just to be influencing out to customers, but influencing up as well, and really changing the way that their products and their services are delivered, which reaches so many more businesses. And it's definitely the power for that is in your hands, I guess, is the way to say that. Moondog's question also was asking where you can find out about other businesses that are trying to go carbon neutral or that have committed to it. So Climate Positive is, or Climate Active, I think, is a website you can go to and you can register there, and they do an accredited approval system. So I definitely check that out. We've got a question here, Abigail, from a barista that's saying they notice that, Justin notices a lot more of his customers are accumulating a collection of keep cups. And are there any redistribution options available for these keep cups? And I agree. I don't think one human does actually require 13 cups, unless it becomes like our outfits. We're color coded and matched to whatever we're wearing. Look, people who are committed probably often need a couple. You need one in the car and one at your desk, and one for the kids to get a hot chocolate. But yes, I don't know. I guess that's a conversation you can have with those customers to say, maybe they could gift it to someone, or. Justin, I have had more than one keep cup, and I have taken some to the op shop. But definitely, you don't want to be caught in the consumptive pattern of I just buy more keep cups. If it takes 60 coffees to break even, then you don't want to have 20 keep cups at home. As much as that would be good for your business, Abigail.
Yeah, but it's like everything is that equation, really, isn't it? Like it's the cost per wear of the outfit you buy, the car you drive. Like it's about how many times are you going to use it to break even, or to be effective in that use. Yeah. Laura, I'm pretty sure the name of the website is Climate Active. So if you Google Climate Active, you'll find that. And this, another question for you while others are coming up. So you said 40% of your customers, when you surveyed them, are now refusing single cups. And I thought that was a fantastic figure. And really interesting how your product, which was a sustainable solution to a problem you saw, is going on to really change people's thinking and the way that they engage with the world. Can you shed any more light on those results, and how long did it take, do you think, for that change to start happening with those customers? I think the lovely thing about Keep Cup is it's such a visible act. Like it's not like a lunchbox tucked in your bag. You see people using it, so it has that. It's like a reusable bag. It makes people, I guess, copy that behaviour. But we survey customers. We started that. We do it every couple of years. We survey them, and I'm not sure we'd even asked that question before. Do you refuse? But yeah, I think that's amazing. So we surveyed. There were 3,000 customers in that survey. So that's a good polling sample. I hear you need 1,000 to get a good sample. Yeah, great.
And I think we've got time for one question here. What kind of initiatives is Keep Cup working on to encourage more cafes and restaurant proprietors to reward customers for using reusable cups? So I know you said when you started off you had your 50-cent.
Yeah, I think that's outrageous. I don't think they should be. You shouldn't be rewarded for using a reusable cup. Why should the cafe reward you? The poor old cafe is struggling to make ends meet and make it, and they've got to wash your cup and reward you. The reward is your own pleasure. It's so much nicer. Your coffee tastes better in a reusable cup.
So we need to sell the cultural messaging that it's cool and it's better, and in every way you just want to only be seen with a reusable cup.
Yeah, I mean, we would encourage cafes to do the opposite, to charge people the cost of the packaging.
Yes. Yeah, I like it. And I had a solution possibly for your carbon footprint from washing. You just need to work with those customers that are now refusing single-use cups to get them buying renewable energy at home and having solar on their rooftop, using heat pumps, and then, you know, they're carbon neutral too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, you know, that's the big game changer, isn't it? It's all renewable energy is the big ticket item that we've all got to,
Yeah, and I think we've probably got time for Marcus's one. Do you do a lot of sales as corporate branded gifts?
Oh, look, when we first started, yes, we did a lot, but less so as the products become more, less novel. Yeah. You know, there's a while there in the early days where it was, I think, I don't know, about 10 years ago, I heard someone wrote in and said that she and her girlfriends do like a Kris Kringle every year where they give each other a gift, and everyone had given this one woman a Keep Cup, so she got 7. So, yeah. She's
going to Justice Cafe. Okay, thank you so much, Abigail. It's been great to hear your story, and I'm sure everyone else along with me has been inspired. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Emma.
We're going to hear now from 4 local businesses: Outer Circle Social Club, Rhubarb Organics, Moon Rabbit and North Kit Bake Shop. And via video, we're going to hear about some of the amazing and sustainable things that they're doing.
I'm Sue, and we have our business Rhubarb Organics, and we're located in the Preston Market. We have a thriving cafe and fruit and veggie business, and also organic groceries. Sustainability is something that's always been really important to us, and a main reason that we started this business in the first place.
My name's Sam and I am from Moon Rabbit Cafe in Preston. We are a social enterprise cafe. All profits from the cafe go back into underfunded community programs. We believe that as a community we can really all work together to change our behaviours and change our habits to reduce our footprint on the environment.
My name's Hirani. I run the North Kit Bake Shop. We want to be a part of, the bigger picture in terms of sustainability. We want to make an impact. We want to be sustainable in the future. We want to have these things for, our children as well to enjoy.
I'm Justin Siriani. I'm the owner of the Outer Circle Social Club. We're here on the corner of Christmas and Arthur Street in Fairfield. Our general philosophy towards sustainability is to just do what we can where we can. We're fully aware that we're not going to change the world overnight, but we're just trying to do a little bit at a time. customers are actively seeking out businesses that act this way, and they're deciding on where to patronise based on these behaviours.
They're people who are making those choices every day in their purchasing and in their lifestyles.
You know, there are going to be customers who don't agree with us, but the majority of people, you know, have a really good understanding. They also assist us in also improving our business to be sustainable.
They pass on their sustainable behaviours, so they're also acting sustainably through us and through other local businesses. If someone comes in and picks up a bucket of compost, they're probably most likely going to buy a latte, and there's 2 customers that we never had before. It's actually good for business.
We focus on a few different areas: our food waste, our consumables and our supply chain. So in terms of our food waste, nothing goes into landfill at all. We've got 8 different categories that our waste is sorted into daily. We have 3 worm farms set out the back.
There are businesses that will come and collect your compost, collect your coffee grounds.
The Share Waste program, which is essentially a community of composters, home composters, businesses as well, that come and pick up the coffee grinds or your kitchen waste and use it in their compost.
In regards to consumables, we have no coffee cups, no straws, no paper napkins, no plastic water bottles.
We recognise there's concerns around cafes in the market providing their own cups for customers, but we've found that we really haven't lost many. We also are part of the Wangham Cup project, so they can, if they want to have a takeaway coffee, they can have it in a Wangham cup.
The Keep Cups were provided by Darebin City Council, no financial outlay.
They can either take it and keep it themselves and reuse it, or give it back to us and we'll wash it for them.
So instead of getting our coffee delivered in 1 kilo bags, we were going through, 40 kilo bags at a time. We now get it delivered in 5 kilo bags, and we're now trying to get a secondary use for those 5 kilo bags. So I think they're going to become our bin liners for the bathrooms and things like that.
We're always looking at creative ways of reducing waste. So for example, we reuse the empty bonsai containers to make a coffee tray.
What motivates us the most, I think, is how quickly our community do embrace the changes that we make, and other local organisations and our suppliers who really do work with us and respond very quickly to change.
Businesses can really help suppliers make the decisions of how they want to package their products. Our customers want products that are in sustainable packaging. That can really affect the way our distributors do business as well, because we say to them, please consider this when you're talking to the people that are making the products.
Our coffee comes from Brunswick. Our bread supply is Northcote Bake Shop, which is 5 minutes down the road. We're boosting up other businesses who will in turn help us. So it's a nice little ecosystem that we're building here. Our roof is pretty much a perfect orientation for solar power. And I knew in my mind I was going to install a pretty thirsty coffee machine, so I needed that wattage to get it done. The roof was replaced with a new roof, which is a light-coloured colour bond, a bit of insulation under there as well. We
thought about those things in terms of the build and the development of the new shop. We worked with a designer, Megan at Brave New Eco, that's a big focus of her business as well. We installed all LED lights. We were really conscious of how we set up our cafe in terms of waste and water. We've installed these panels above the fruit and veggie to make the area stay a bit cooler.
For other businesses who are wanting to keep pushing forward with sustainability initiatives, I would say to really get talking to businesses surrounding you in different industries as well, not just the ones in the same industry, and really just start to look at your daily operations.
It all started with me talking to one person at the Darebin Council, and it just escalated from there, and I've got so many things in practice now.
We started in a small stall in the market 21 years ago. Now we've got 22 staff.
Been here for just about 2 years now, and we've got probably like 10 staff now. We've grown to about 10 staff.
It's been a really amazing journey and great business decision to have a sustainable business and grow it.
I hope you're all as inspired by those stories from those wonderful businesses, Outer Circle Social Club, Rhubarb Organics, Northcote Bake Shop and Moon Rabbit, as I am. And you're all keen to go and support them. And for anyone that hasn't already embraced the reusable cup, get them on board with Wangham. And speaking of Wangham, leads me into introducing Hirini Paris, who is the co-owner of Northcote Bake Shop. Hirini, as Messina mentioned before, is also our joint Darebin Citizen of the Year, and she is the founder of the Wangham Cup Project, and also she's the founder of our Darebin Business Zero Waste Facebook group, which I strongly encourage those of you who are interested in reducing waste to join. Thank you, Hirini, and please put your questions to Hirini in the Q&A tool, and we'll have time to ask them of Hirini later. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me here today. So as Emma mentioned, my name is Hirini Paris and I'm here to talk to you about an initiative called the Wangham Cup Project. Firstly, just coming from Abigail's presentation, I just wanted to thank Abigail as well for creating the Keep Cup, because this has allowed us to then create our program, the Wangham Cup Project. So the Wangham Cup Project is a community response to the ever-growing problem of reducing our coffee cup waste. In 2019, we tried to tackle the issue of removing our takeaway coffee cups and quickly realised that we'd lose a lot of customers if we just removed this service. We heard at the time that Monash University was running a pilot which looked at replacing coffee cups or single-use cups in their cafes in a closed network. And so we thought, okay, well, how can we do this? So we had a chat with them and they gave us some great tips. And so we started to figure out, A, how can we duplicate this system into an open network? And B, how can we get the council on board to implement this idea? So research was undertaken for most part of 2020. So the research we undertook was which cup would we use, which stores could we ask to participate, the name of the project, who would design it, how could we roll it out efficiently and safely in a post-COVID world. So we eventually got the green light from council early in January 2021 to launch the project. Since then, just speaking on just bake shop numbers. So the Northcote Bake Shop has diverted over 2,700 takeaway cups. That's just from January to March, and subsequently saving around $346 from for not purchasing our single-use cups. So at the moment, there are 8 stores participating in the project, and we've just got the go-ahead to go into a phase 2, which means another 8 cafes will come on board, and so in total we'll have 16 stores. We're going to be reaching out. So at the moment they're in Northcote, Fairfield, Thornbury and Preston. We're looking into Reservoir and Bundoora as well, so that's super exciting for us. It has been a wonderful experience to be able to work with the local cafes in the area, and we feel gives us a stronger sense of community effort in tackling our sustainable challenges. The project is called Wangham, which is our local Woiwurrung word for boomerang, and we are very grateful to the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung Cultural Heritage Aboriginal Corporation for granting us and blessing us to borrow the word Wangham. The wording was very important to us, and we feel that this is a great fit for the project, as the purpose of the cup is to be used, borrowed and returned. So just a few more information on some numbers. So that's just what the cup looks like. It's a beautiful blue keep cup with our logo Wangham on there. So last month, just in terms of one cafe, they were able to divert 33% of total coffee cups from a non-single use to a takeaway cup, to like a keep cup. We have 8 stores now participating in Darabin, and if you are a store wanting to get some more information about how you can become a Wangham stockist, or if you are a customer wanting to support Wangham, those cafes stocking Wangham, you can go on our website, our Instagram page, or send us an email. And this is just some data of the stores and how much cups we've diverted together in February and March. And I look forward to any questions.
Thank you so much, Hirini. Beautiful. Now, there is a question. It's sort of, I think you could speak to this, Hirini.
Mm-hmm.
To all the cafe and food suppliers, what do you do with your uneaten food waste? And this is from Nikki, who works at a local childcare, and she has a lot of food waste and is struggling to put it all through the Bokashi bins. Would you like to share what you do? I think it's more about the Northcote Bake Shop than Wangham, but at Northcote Bake Shop,
sure.
Food waste.
Sure. We have so we have different food waste systems. We have for our kitchen food waste, we have an external compost solution, which we have 2 bins, and someone comes and picks up the compost on like a fortnightly basis. And then we also have another company called Choreo Waste, which do our other cups, our single-use cups. So it's a biodegradable cup. It doesn't have a plastic lining. So we have two waste systems for our coffee grounds and our coffee cups and our food waste. But yeah, we have an external compost. To answer that, we have an external compost person that helps us.
Thanks, Hirini. And I'm smiling at Justin's comment there. Now, Hirini, one thing that you were talking to me about the other day when we were discussing Wangham was, I think a business owner said to you, wow, the collaboration we're doing with Wangham. You know, imagine what else we could do. And I think this, like, what drove you to realise the best way to solve this problem of all these single-use cups going to landfill was to collaborate with other businesses and come up with this solution and to work with council?
So I think that I realised, I don't know, whenever, a few years back, that, you know, how much waste a single cafe was going through and the impact as to my residential waste versus the cafe waste. And we, unfortunately, you know, being a higher volume, you know, when you're at home, you've got often, like, you know, you're a family of 4 or 5 or whatever, but there's lots of waste coming from businesses. So I thought, okay, well, if I can divert an amount of ton per year, how could I potentially work together with my other neighbouring cafes, so to increase the level of impact or reduce the level of impact going into landfill? So I think that was just, you know, that was the main idea behind it. And you're right, recently, you know, the owner of Jerry Joy, he mentioned, oh, this is great. Like, we're working together on this Wangham Cup, and there's cafes very, very close to each other working together to bring down or to reduce our waste. It's almost like you're not alone in your initiative, because there's often a cafe down the road or in the next suburb who has similar issues but has the resources or the knowledge or is doing some sustainable initiatives. So I highly recommend you speak to, like, cafes to cafes. You speak to other cafes, because, you know, it's often we have, some people will already have the answers to issues.
Yeah, so sharing the learnings amongst your peers.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Don't reinvent the wheel if there's already information to do so, to reduce your waste.
Yeah. And Nikki, we have a resource that we'll send a link to later, and I'll talk to a bit later, our food waste recycling resource, which includes some free as well as some paid service options. And I'd say have a look at Share Waste. That's a free option where people from the community can come and pick up your waste. I know Moon Rabbit uses that, and so we saw that in the video. It was a good example of that. Thank you so much, Hirini. A call out again to any cafes that aren't on board with Wangham in Darebin and would really like to be, get in touch with Hirini and see if you can join this fantastic program. Thank you very much. I'd now like to introduce Alex Kung from Reducing Our Footprint. Alex and Anae, his partner, started their sustainability journey in Shanghai, China, again confronted by waste. So that's a very similar topic we're seeing, and I guess, you know, waste is very visible, so it's a very strong, compelling action to do something about. And they've gone on to create an amazing solution. They've gone on to set up a business that's working to help households, businesses, and all of us to reduce our ecological footprint and live more sustainably. So welcome, Alex.
Thanks for the introduction, Emma. Yes, so I'm Alex from Reducing Our Footprint. So we're a social enterprise, and we support individuals, businesses to embrace more sustainable practices. If you can move to the next slide, Glenn, please. So we've been around for a few years now, almost 3 years. So already back then, we realized that Australia was really ready for change, and we needed to embrace the change. We identified, I would say, a kind of a key problem, which is we as individuals or as businesses never really stop to analyze the resources we utilize and the impact we generate. We just get too busy in our daily lives, in our business practices. So a key problem, and for those of you who have embraced a sustainable journey, a lot of us still feel overwhelmed. There's just so much out there that we can do, and a lot of people don't know where to start. So the purpose of ROF was really to guide and support, again, individuals, businesses to embrace more of these practices. Next, please. And why is this important? I think today it's this point is even more important than ever before. We were all severely impacted by COVID in 2020. So if we like it or not, the change is happening, and we need to look at ways to channel it and to see it as an opportunity. I also encourage everybody, or our clients, not to see sustainability as something complicated and something hard. It really is an opportunity, and it's not just an opportunity from a planetary perspective, so from an environmental perspective, but using the triple bottom line, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's really an advantage both from a profit perspective, from a people's perspective, and a planetary perspective. So looking at these in a little bit more detail. So from a profit perspective, which obviously is key for businesses, especially now that we're trying to rebuild after 2020, embracing sustainable practices can really help cut costs and drive savings. So that's definitely a huge plus. From a people perspective, embracing sustainable practices can help you connect with your community, can help you connect with local businesses, also attract maybe younger talent. I know for some businesses, it's hard to find the right talent sometimes. There's a lot of competition out there for good people. Obviously, if you are more environmentally conscious, that's an extra touch point as well for young talent to join your organization. So have a think about that. And then from a planetary perspective, which is kind of the obvious, is we have an impact, a positive impact on the environment, but also I encourage you to think of this as a story, right? You can start to also tell a story. So from a marketing perspective, there are advantages, and it's a story that can also help you attract new clients to your products and services. Next, please. And just to give you, I guess, some solutions, be it at home or be it in the office. I know most of us are still working from home, or there's this hybrid model of a few days in the office and the rest of the time at home. Just some solutions you can think of is, first and foremost, energy is a big one. Heating, cooling, all of this is definitely something that can help you reduce significantly your bills. Lighting is a big one. So if you haven't switched to LED lighting, I encourage you to do so. Water saving, we're just bringing in an innovative product from Japan, actually, that can help hospitality businesses in particular save water. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. Waste is a big one, and that's how I kind of got into sustainability, as Emma was mentioning earlier. So ways you can separate correctly, reduce your waste, cut down on your general waste. And I also encourage you to think of waste not as a problem, but as a resource, so a way of repurposing waste. Today, it's not just about recycling, but it's about circularity, and it's a way, and it's how you can use waste to create new revenue streams and really drive value through waste. Another solution we can discuss is reusable packaging solutions. Why dispose of packaging? Why use single-use packaging when you can create something reusable? Granted, there might be a little bit of an upfront cost, but then it has a positive impact on the environment, and also in the long run it will save you costs. Finally, just to tie into the efficiency and sustainable health check. So this is a great initiative that the City of Darwin started. I'm not sure yet when, a couple of years ago perhaps, but I was involved in that as well. And we can definitely help you, achieve those that green certificate if there's any areas that you find challenging and where you need a bit of support. And just to leave you with a quote, if I can have the next slide, please. We don't need a handful of people doing sustainability perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. Start small. Start with incremental steps. They all make a huge impact, and then in no time you will have embraced a sustainable journey. And yeah, if you do find any challenges on the way, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
And Alex, you're a home-based business. Could you just share with us some of the things you've done in your own home to make it more sustainable? Obviously, in light of the fact that many people have been home-based over the last 12 months, I think there's a lot of opportunity we can harness.
Yeah, 100%. Well, as mentioned in one of the slides earlier, I think looking at energy is definitely a big one. And I mean, either if you're working from home, or even I encourage business owners, if you have offices, to look at this. Cutting down heating and cooling represent 40-50% of your energy bills, so that's something you can definitely explore. Lighting is a big one, so switching from traditional light bulbs to LED has significant savings. Then trivial things like use your appliances when they're full. Maybe don't wash your clothes as you know. Not that you don't have to wash your clothes, but wash when you have full cycles. Consider also washing clothes with cold water. That's a big one as well, because we always tend to overwash and use hot water, and that also kind of is detrimental to the clothes themselves. So you also give your clothes a longer life if you're using colder water. You can move away from printing from paper entirely, I think, by going digital. This is what I think most businesses today are embracing, and that also will save you costs in the long run. These are some of the key areas, I think. And then I always go back to waste, because it's something I'm particularly passionate about. I think reducing your waste bills can be done if you start to separate your waste correctly and find also organic solutions to your organic waste, as we were discussing earlier. So share waste can be a great solution. Composting yourself. So there's different options there. Consider that the average household bin is made 50% of food waste. So if you can remove that also obviously saves you cost and does the right thing for the planet.
Great. Thanks so much, Alex. And just on food waste, Nikki, in the chat, Sue from Rhubarb has shared what they do for their food waste. So I'd like to thank you, Alex. And now we'll move on to hear from Fairfield Primary School via a video. And after that, we'll hear from Catherine Barraclough, a parent from Fairfield Primary School. We have the video now.
Hi, I'm Rosie.
I'm Eloise.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Harvey.
And Leo.
I'm James.
We are the community leaders of Fairfield Primary School.
We're a resource smart school. We're really passionate about sustainability, and we also have a really engaged parent community that is incredibly supportive and passionate about sustainability as well.
Our school is working to reduce waste.
We've got multiple waste streams in the classrooms. That's compost bins, commingled recycling and soft plastics.
Each class is in charge of their own compost bin, and they'll empty it either in the normal compost bins outside the 1-2 building. We also have solar compost cones. Yeah, they'll get eaten up by worms. Yeah.
We'll try and minimise the amount of plastic that goes into lunch boxes. We promote new food in our newsletters so that parents can learn about it.
We are aiming to make all of our school events zero waste. We have Wash Against Waste, we sort out our waste, and we encourage people to bring kick cups to events such as fairs. We are working to support the circular economy, and we recycle our paper waste, and it is sent to a local recycler and made into cardboard boxes.
We also have a second-hand uniform store. We've also switched to using a local supplier in Coburg rather than overseas for our uniforms.
Our school is looking to conserve energy, and one way we have done that is by putting a reflective layer on top of the gym roof. We've also put fans inside the gym to increase natural airflow. These two things means that we can use the gym all year round. Before we had installed these, it was 2 weeks each year that we couldn't use the gym because it was too hot inside.
In 2018, our school put in LED lights. These lights reduced our energy use by 57%, saving us $3,000 per year.
We installed technology that automatically turns off air conditioning and lights when you leave your room, saving around $4,700 each year.
Solar panels that have generated around 52,500 kilowatt hours since they were installed in 2012.
Quite a few of the things that we've done will pay for themselves over time by reducing our bills.
We have a planned installation of an 80 kilowatt solar system on top of the gym, and that will make our school net zero emissions. We're also looking into water tanks to flush the toilets and water our gardens around the school to reduce water wastage. Our school is really committed to buying green products, and we have made a policy about it.
For example, we only purchase 100% recycled paper. That's our paper in the classroom, tissue paper and toilet paper.
Nature is very important to us in our school, and so is connecting to it.
We've planted over 470 plants all around the school, and nesting boxes, that was another one of our working bees. All the work we've done around the school has helped kids connect and learn from nature. We send home information about walking, riding or scooting to school. And we've also got racks out the front where families can put their bikes.
For any school wanting to start out on a similar sustainability journey, one of the best things that we did was start an environmental and sustainability working group where a bunch of dedicated parents as well as teachers got together and dedicated time to talking about sustainability. We also signed up to a program run by Sustainability Victoria called Resource Smart Schools. This program gives some great starting points for schools, and we'd definitely recommend schools joining that. The students are so naturally drawn to looking after their world and being an active contributor to their world and wanting it to be the best place it can be.
We're really pleased with everything that we've done, but we're also excited about some more things that we're going to do.
Thank you to those 6 community leaders at Fairfield Primary School, and also to Jordan Murray, the teacher. And now we have Catherine with us, who's a parent and a sustainability champion at Fairfield Primary School, who's going to talk a little bit more about some of those initiatives you've just seen. Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks, Emma. So yeah, my name's Catherine, and as said, and I'm a parent of 3 boys who are spread out across the years at Fairfield Primary School. So it was about 4 years ago now when I, along with another parent at the school, approached some of the teachers about setting up an environmental working group. And that group comprises a number of parents, also some staff members, and some interested children. As shown in the video, over the years, we've achieved a whole range of things that, I suppose as a group we're really proud of. But I thought today I might focus in on a few of them that I think are relevant, not just to schools, but really to any business or group in the community. As shown in the video, one of the first things we did was look at our school gym. We have a really fantastic gym, and it looks great at first glance, but it is in essence a tin shed that heats up in the summer. There were, as the children said, at least 2 weeks a year when the gym was unusable, and a lot of the rest of the summer it was quite unpleasant to be in. One option was to install air conditioning, and that was sort of the immediate thought by a number of people. Because of the lack of insulation in the building, the power usage from this would have been enormous. And probably in the end, this wouldn't have been all that effective. So what we did instead was have 2 special kind of giant fans installed, and also the reflective membrane that you saw. And what that does is reflect off the heat. The result has been that the kids can now use the gym all year. Instead of having to go outside on hot days, they actually go in because it's a much more pleasant place to be. Another really major focus, along with the theme of what we've heard today, has been waste. And I think waste is really important in schools because it is so visible. We did some early audits, and we found out that, not surprisingly for a school, much of what was in our bins was uneaten sandwiches and food wrappings. So what we did was introduce a 5-bin system in every classroom, so that we now have bins for paper, commingled recycling, soft plastics, and then also organics and general waste. This was a great project because the whole school was really involved at all stages of it. We had the kids and the teachers performing the audits. We had parents sewing the stockings that the soft plastics go in. There are parent reps from each class that collect the plastics for drop off to supermarkets. And then there are certain kids that are responsible for educating the classes ongoing about the system, and also different kids that are responsible for emptying the bins each day. A major part of our work with waste has also been with our suppliers. So one example of this is that when kids order sushi in lunch orders, they used to come in those sort of scrunchable plastic containers along with a little fish soy sauce. And we would routinely find these in the playground on lunch order days. We approached our supplier about this, and she was really fantastic. And the result of that was that we now get sushi in fully compostable plastic bags, and we have a bottle of soy sauce in each classroom that the kids can use. The last thing I thought I'd talk about in a bit more detail was energy. We had very high energy usage at baseline. Much of our building stock in the school is poorly insulated. Much as we tried to educate kids and staff to switch off lights and air conditioners when rooms were not in use, this was a difficult battle. We've since installed an auto-off function for our air conditioners and for some of the lighting. And as the video said, all our lighting is now LED. We got support for that through one of the council programs. And as said, we also have a contract in place for an 80 kilowatt system that's going to go on the roof of our gym. This will entirely offset our energy with some to spare. And I think that's something that's really important for us as a school. I suppose each of these initiatives has led to a range of benefits. The obvious thing is that they've reduced the impact of our school on the climate and broader environment, which was really, our sort of primary motivation in the beginning. But they've also had an educational role, and that has been with sort of students and teachers and families, really the whole school community. We've learned about how you can have a problem in a school and then how these can be solved with I suppose, really exciting and sustainable solutions. The other sort of major benefit is that they have and they will continue to save us a lot of money. And obviously that can then be fed into other initiatives in the school. A sort of extra benefit on top of all of that is that what all of this work has done is change the culture in our school. And it really has gone a long way to improving sort of community connectedness as well. It's sort of something we all work on together and we're all proud of. It's also improved our connectedness to the broader community. So Darebin Council, particularly Emma, has been an incredible source of information and a guide. We've liaised with other schools in our area to find out how they've tackled problems and to share our solutions. And as I mentioned, we've got to know and work personally with people along our supply chain. So, all in all, it's been a really fantastic experience. And as the kids said, we're really excited about what we're going to do from here.
Thank you, Catherine. Catherine, I first met many years ago when she was a parent at Clifton Street Children's Centre, doing amazing stuff there, and it's no surprise that she's doing amazing stuff at Fairfield Primary. And I think there are so many lessons that can be replicated in what Fairfield Primary School's done across all businesses and organisations, influencing supply chains, working with your customers, and in this case your kids, taking on projects that deliver great outcomes in terms of sustainability, efficiency and saving money. So well done. We're running close to time now, so we won't have questions for Catherine, but please, if you have them, can you put them in and she may answer them in the chat while I go through the next section. There's just a question for you there, Catherine, if you're happy for people to contact you to talk about some of the initiatives. And Linda, letting you know, yes, there will be copies of the videos. They are actually already up on our Sustainable Business playlist, which I will get to in a minute. So thank you very much, Catherine. And please, if you have questions, pop them in and Catherine can have a look at the chat, reply to you through the chat. I'm going to talk now very quickly about some of the Darebin Council and state government programs that are on offer to help you do some of the things that we've heard businesses are doing today and to help you solve some of the problems you're facing with a sustainable solution. We've heard about LED lights, and I can't emphasise this enough. If your lights aren't LED, please consider upgrading them. Our Light Smart program at Council can basically ensure that this upgrade happens for free for most businesses. The average saving that businesses are seeing is $420 a year on their electricity bills. And this program is also open to schools and businesses and not-for-profit businesses as well. So please take advantage of the LED lights. Our next slide's talking about some of the state government programs that are on offer. Again, they are to help deliver efficiency and save money on your electricity bills. Energy Compare is a website you can use to find the cheapest retailer. I encourage you to use this. You can also use a green power filter to source renewable energy or green power. Solar Vic for Small Business opens next month, May, and there'll be subsidies or rebates of up to $3,500 for installing solar for businesses. You can register now, and we'll be sending out these links so you can pursue them later. Small Business Energy Saver Program, again, another state government program offering rebates and incentives for you to be able to upgrade equipment like fridges, freezers, hot water systems, and heating and cooling systems. We've got a range of waste management resources, and waste, as we've seen today, is one of the big things that really often gets people on their sustainability journey and is a big area you can have a lot of impact. We've got a plastic-free Darebin business guide that you'll be able to download, and we've got an organic waste recycling guide which lists, as I mentioned before, some of the free and paid service options for recycling organic waste. We've also got our Darebin business recycling program that you can pick up for curbside commingled recycling. As the Mayor pointed out, and as Abigail also mentioned, COVID's had a devastating impact, we know, on so many businesses. And business support and recovery is really key to this council and really key to the work that we're doing. I encourage you to go to our website, darebin.vic.gov.au/business support, to see some of the programs that are on offer that you can access. We've got a free ION group business mentoring sessions. They're available now, 1 hour sessions, and I encourage you to take them up. We've got our Love Your Local Business Map being released soon, and the Sustainable Darebin Map. These maps are showing you where our local businesses are as part of our campaign to really encourage everyone, both customers and businesses, to support local businesses. We've got many programs on offer and we've got many resources on offer, and the best way to find out about these is go to our Sustainable Business webpage, which is darebin.vic.gov.au/sustainable business. Sign up to our Darebin Business e-newsletter. Follow us on our business Facebook page, and as I mentioned earlier, join the Darebin Zero Business Waste Facebook group that Hirini has set up. This is a way for you to talk peer-to-peer and share your experiences. And last but not least, if you found the stories today inspiring and the videos where we've heard those stories, there's many more videos that we have produced of our local businesses who are taking a lead in sustainability. And you can find those on our Sustainable Business playlist, which is on our City of Darebin YouTube page. We'll also be putting the recording of this event up there, and the videos you've seen today are already posted there. So please take advantage of this site and share and watch these inspirational stories. We're almost at the end, and before you leave, I'd really love to encourage you to fill in our feedback survey, which will pop up in a moment. These events are designed to help inspire and motivate businesses and organisations to progress their sustainability journey, and your feedback form will help us work out whether or not we're achieving that aim. We've got an incentive. All those that fill in the feedback form will go in for a $100 Enviroshop gift voucher. So please stay with us for a moment longer until the feedback form pops up. And lastly, I'd like to thank our wonderful speakers again for their contributions and the efforts that they've gone to and for speaking to us today. But most importantly, I'd like to thank you all. You that have signed in and joined up for today, and all the sustainability efforts you're making in your lives and your businesses. We really appreciate it, and certainly in my role, I really love getting to work with you. Thank you, and stay with us to fill in the feedback form.